I'm super excited because what we're experiencing these days, the incredible, miraculous attack that the Israeli army is perpetrating against Iran, and the incredible success that they're having. It's all God's miracles, but I'm so excited because this is the last box that had to be checked. The last thing that had to happen before Moshiach comes was this attack with Iran, and there are so many prophecies that are all coming together. I wasn't exactly sure how everything's going to fit in, but God incredibly, elegantly put everything together, and all the pieces of the puzzle are here, and we're really, really ready for Moshiach because nothing else has to happen. The only thing that has to happen, nothing has to happen, but if you want to prepare yourself, now is the time. Don't waste time. Learn Torah, do mitzvahs, give charity, be good to people, do as many good deeds as you can, so when Mashiach comes, you are prepared to receive the incredible light of a Mashiach. In this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly where this strike was prophesied. I want to explain to you exactly what the role of Bibi Netanyahu is, the role of Trump, and incredibly where the Lubavitcher Rebbe comes into this whole picture. It's going to be amazing. Just be patient. I'm going to get to that towards the end. We're going to go through 6 or 7 prophecies, and I'm going to explain to you how everything is coming together with such exactitude, to the T. Exactly, God let us know exactly what's happened. We couldn't have figured out before it happened, but now after it happened, like the Rambam says in the very end of his book, in the laws of Mashiach, that you can't figure out messianic prophecies until they actually occur. Now that they occurred, everything fits into place. So let's start. First of all, I was always puzzled by this because in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 and 39, it talks at length about the wars of Gog and Magog, and it says there clearly, we spoke about this in previous videos, I'm not going to repeat this over here, but it's clear that Gog from the land of Magog is the President of the United States, the leader of the Western world, the final manifestation of the Roman Empire, and it says he's going to form an alliance with countries, the only one that could be identified as Persia, and the alliance is going to be against the Jewish state, which was recently established. It says clearly all that stuff over there, and according to that prophecy, America is going to join Persia in attacking Israel. So that's one prophecy. But then we have another prophecy in the Talmud, in Tractate Yuma. This is the tractate that deals with the Yom Kippur, the service of the Kohen Gadol on the Holy of Holies, on the holiest day of the year. And here we have clear in the Talmud, it says that we learned in the name of Rav, and then we learned this from Brisa, from Tanoim, Asida Paras Shetipa B'Yad Reini, that Persia will fall by the Romans. So that means the Roman Empire, the last manifestation of the Roman Empire, which is Western society led by the United States of America, Persia is going to fall. So how does that fit with the prophecy that we just quoted from Ezekiel chapter 38, that America and Persia are going to join forces and form an alliance against Israel? And here it says that Rome and America is going to put down Persia. Persia is going to be destroyed, weakened, ashamed, embarrassed, basically knocked off the scene by the Romans. Then we have another prophecy, a very interesting prophecy. I don't want to go into this at length. It's many times in the Zohar. I'll quote you here from the Zohar in the book of Bereshis, page 25. It says here clearly that the Erev Rav, these are the people, these are the Egyptians that Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, accepted as part of the Jewish people when the Jews left Egypt. So enormous amount of Egyptians and non-Jews wanted to join the Jewish people. They weren't fully ready for it. They didn't do it out of love for God. They did it because they realized that the Jews are much stronger than the Egyptians, and they wanted to be with the winners and not the losers, so they never really performed a conversion all the way, so therefore their souls were not completely whole. And it says there that before Mashiach comes, they will be the ones that are in control of the land in Israel. The Talmud says this also in Sanhedrin, in page 98. It says that the government of the state of Israel will be a Malchus Azala, which basically means a lowly government, which is referring to what the Zohar says, they'll be the Erev Rav. Now, what exactly does that mean? I don't want to go into this, is not the purpose of this video, but I want to explain to you something. From the beginning of the establishment of the state of Israel, one thing is very clear, and that is that from Theodor Herzl through Ben Gurion and all the leaders of the state of Israel, they basically were proxies of Edom, of the Western world. And even though they claim that they have independence, they celebrate it, but they don't have independence. They were always very fearful and always collaborated with the um, the Western world, and particularly America. And therefore, they lacked the complete inner strength of complete Jews, even though they were 100% halachically Jewish. But in their minds and in their souls, there was something lacking over there. They could never come out to say that God gave us the land, the entire land. The biblical borders include the Yehuda and Shomron, what they call the West Bank and Gaza. It's all Jewish land, and we have absolutely no reason in the world. In fact, it's against God's will that we share it with anybody else. The Muslims have over 50 countries. Christians have countries. Everyone has a place. We have one tiny place. God gave it to us, and He wants us to have it and nobody else. No one was able to say that. Everyone said, nah, it's for everybody. It's a democracy. Everybody could come, and even non-Jews, and we'll treat them the same and stuff like that. So this has been very, very confusing, and it's been a cause of unbelievable amount of suffering for the Jewish people, these compromises and trying to always, bring in and let the Arabs have their own place and their own autonomy. I don't want to go into it, but because of this lack of Jewish pride and belief in Hashem and Amunah in Hashem, they have always been very compromised, and they never really were able to win a war. There was always ceasefires, but never really win, never destroy their enemies. They're always coming back to fight again. Basically, this war is going on for 100 years, and it's really going nowhere. It's going nowhere because after 615 days in Gaza, Hamas is fully in support. The IDF only controls. I mean, if you think of it, it's absolutely insane. You're talking about Iran is 1,000 miles away. It's a mighty country. They have a mighty army, and they have missiles, and they have everything. And you talk about 80 million people. It's not. You can't compare them to Hamas. And here, Israel is tearing them apart, shaming them, going into Tehran, killing their leaders, destroying their infrastructures, destroying their missile defenses. In a matter of hours, in the next couple of days, there's nothing going to be left. And here you have the weakest army in the world, Hamas, and it's a tiny little area. It's in Israel's backyard. It's not 1,000 miles away, and how October 7th happened and the response to October 7th, and 650 days later, there's still 50 hostages there, and soldiers are being killed, and over 500 soldiers were killed in this, and they're still maybe control 30% of Gaza. They have no plan after. So you see, there's incredible weakness over here. But on the other hand, what they're doing today is amazing. Like how do you fit this? So the answer is that obviously everybody does what God wants them to do. As far as is God's plan, it doesn't make a difference what people think. Netanyahu, Trump, everybody's doing God's plan. So I'm explaining to you what the plan over here is. There is no question that America and the West, they are in full alliance with Iran. They built Iran. The Carter administration, you can look all this up, ask ChatGPT or one of the other AI programs that you use. This is all well known. The Carter administration was the one that really built up the Ayatollahs, and then Reagan came and he armed them to the teeth. The famous Iran-Contra deal, he armed them to the teeth, and then successive American administrations helped Iran build up this infrastructure that they did, that they could terrorize the state of Israel and the Jews of Israel. What Obama did and what Biden did, and he allowed them hundreds of billions of dollars to make money, so they could fund Hamas, and they could fund Hezbollah, and they could fund the Houthis. Everything the Americans were in complete alliance with. Now, what's shocking is Trump is also in the same boat. I mean, Trump is what is Trump thinking? I mean, he's negotiating with them another week and another week and another week. Like, what in the world? You negotiate with Nazis? What, are you out of your mind? What, are you crazy? These people are freaking liars. These people are monsters. These people are Nazis. These people are crazy, fanatic, subhuman. What are you negotiating with them? And then Trump says over and over again, I want Iran to be successful. It's a great country. You want this government to be successful? This government has to be destroyed. They're Nazis. What are you doing? What are you, crazy? You're nuts. Why are you wasting your time? You can't believe a word they say. Every day that you drag it, they're going further in the nuclear program. They're building more missiles. They're fortifying their defenses in their nuclear facilities. And you're going and you say, I want a deal. What are you, afraid to fight them? You're the mightiest army in the world. You could destroy Iran in 5 minutes. What are you, crazy? What are you chasing after them? Now, obviously, Trump doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. That makes no sense what he's doing. I mean, his buddies in the Gulf states, of course, they're terrified of Iran, because Iran basically, Israel is very hard to find. Israel has very good air defenses. I mean, Iran tried, and they're trying today. They send drones, they send missiles. They did it twice last year, and they send hundreds of missiles and drones and ballistic missiles, and nothing went through. But the Gulf states have very poor missile defenses, and Iran could set them back, decades. They could destroy their whole infrastructure. They could cause billions and billions of dollars of damage. They could close the Strait of Hormuz, and they could close the Houthis could close the other strait over there, the Gulf over there, and no oil could be shipped. I mean, they could cause enormous damage. So the Gulf states are obviously pressuring Trump, don't fight Iran. They're going to take revenge on us. But Trump talks big. I'm not going to let them have. But meanwhile, he's negotiating with them. But even now, during this war, Trump, like a moron, he's saying, "I still want to negotiate with you." What are you, crazy? So the answer is, of course, Trump is a nobody. Trump is just an avatar. He does exactly what is predicted to do. So if you look in Ezekiel chapter 38, God says, "I will force you. I'm going to put hooks in your mouth, and I'm going to bring you to the land of Israel, that you in Iran should be against Israel, and you have no choice in the matter." So what Trump is doing is exactly what he has to do. But on the other hand, so he's building up Iran, and he's dragging it out, and he's giving them the time, and he's saying all these praising great things. And that idiot, he said, he went to the Middle East, and he went to Qatar. The Qatars are monsters. The Qatars are Nazis. They fund Hamas. They love Hamas. They support Hamas. They host Hamas, and he tells them, he loves them, and they're great people, and this, and they're handsome. What are you glorifying Nazis? You out of your mind? You out of your mind? But listen, that's his role. I mean, Trump has to be against Israel. But on the other hand, he likes Jews. He's not an anti-Semite. You got to be crazy to think he's an anti-Semite. He's doing more to protect Jews than any president in the history of America. He's going after the anti-Semites. He's closing the universities. He's chucking them out of the country. Pro-Hamas people from other countries, he's throwing them out. He's doing an enormous amount of stuff for the Jewish people in America. So the person it doesn't have an ounce of anti-Semitism in him. He's a good person. He's a bully. He's not refined and stuff like that. But his heart is in the right place, and he definitely has nothing against the Jewish people. To the contrary, doing everything he can for the Jews in America that they should be protected. But on the other hand, he does have a role, and his role is to align with Iran against the state of Israel. So that's why he was trying to negotiate with them, and he's praising Iran, Qatar, it's all the same thing. So he's praising them and saying they're great, and even Erdogan, who's also a Nazi, who's always saying he wants to destroy the state of Israel. Trump says, he's a great guy, he's a tough guy, I like him, I could deal with him. What are you, crazy? The guy's a Nazi. Why are you saying these stupid things? The answer is because you're not in control of your mind. God is in control of your mind. And he wants you, on the one hand, he wants you to be against Israel. But on the other hand, you like the Jews. So how does this work? So the answer is, on one hand, you're fighting Israel, but on the other hand, Edom, Esau, right? We quoted the Gemara in Yuma that Esau is going to destroy Poras. So how do you do that? So the answer is that the government of Israel is basically the Erev Rav. I mean, Netanyahu does not do anything without coordinating with America. That's it. When Biden told him to send all the aid to the Gazans, he said all the aid to the Gazans. The aid went straight to Hamas. So basically, Israel is fighting a war for over 600 days, and they are supporting their enemy. They gave all the aid. Hamas took the aid, and they sold it, and they fed themselves, and they gorged themselves, and then with the money, they had more money to bring in more. To after every time the Israeli army killed Hamas, they brought in new people. They paid them. They had money to pay them. So Israel was forced to actually support Hamas. First of all, they built Hamas up. Netanyahu, in the last 15 years, he made sure that Hamas has a lot of money, whatever was going through his mind, what the purpose was. But he built up Hamas. They knew what they were going. They knew what they were doing in Gaza, the tunnels and all the weapons and the missiles. They knew all that. They just turned a blind eye, and they actually facilitated by allowing all the money to go in there from the West, from Qatar, from Iran, from Turkey, everything like that. So basically, what Israel did, they were in complete alliance with Edom, with the last manifestation of Rome, and fully in alliance against the Jewish state. the Israeli government was fully in alliance with them and helping them. But here, now Esau, Edom has to destroy Iran, like the Gemara says in Yuba. So therefore, Esau is doing it through its proxy. Its proxy, of course, is Israel, because Netanyahu is not going to do anything unless America agrees to do it. So therefore, and he coordinated with Trump, and Trump said, "I knew about it." But Trump, on the one hand, he acts like he's a tough guy, but now he's acting like a big chicken. He's afraid that Iran is gonna retaliate against America and attack American bases. America has tons of bases all over the Middle East, not in Israel, but in all the other Arab countries. Their biggest base, everybody knows, is in Qatar, and he's afraid of them. And the Gulf, and his buddies in the Gulf, in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the Emirates, they're all telling him, please don't incite Iran. They're going to take it out on us. So Trump is saying, nothing to do with America. We're not part of this. We're not part of this. It's all Israel. It's all alone. You're acting like a little chicken, like you're afraid of Iran. America can knock off Iran. If Israel is doing it, America's 10 times stronger. America could do it in if Israel takes a couple of days, America could do it in hours. What are you afraid of? The answer is, the prophet says that America is aligned with Iran. So he can't fight Iran, but he has to fight Iran. So he fights Iran. On the one hand, he's aligned with Iran, and on the other hand, he's fighting Iran. How does he fight Iran? With his proxy. Netanyahu is his proxy. Netanyahu doesn't do anything without America. All the arms, the F-35s, the F-15s, the F-16s, they're all American planes. It's American weapons. It's with Americans' permission. It's coordinated with the Americans. So at the same time, this is a crazy thing. We can never figure this out, but this is a crazy thing. So what happened is that at the same time that Trump is fighting Israel, he's also fighting Iran through his proxy, Israel. So there's an incredible prophecy. The last prophecy before, we know Bilam had amazing prophecies, and the last prophecy that he said, what's going to happen right before Moshiach comes? What does he say? He says, "Vitzim biyad kitim, v'inu ashur." Inu Aver. This is a prophecy in Bamidbar, and chapter 24, verse 24. It's in Numbers 24:24. It says, "V'tzim biyad kitim v'inu asher v'inu Aver." So how does Rashi, the most important commentator on the Chumash, on the Bible, what does he say? He says, "Tzim is massive ships, and they are going to be controlled by the Kitim, which he says is the Roman Empire, the last manifestation of the Roman Empire, and that's America." What's a massive ship? What's a massive ship? A massive ship is obviously what's the biggest vessel in the world? That's an aircraft carrier. So an aircraft carrier, America has 11 aircraft carriers, and they're working now on another 2. Each one costs $13 to $15 billion. Nobody comes close to them when it talks about big ships. Nobody comes even close to them. China has 2, I think, and Russia has 1, and they're not nearly as good as America was. So America is the ones with its sim. They're the big ships. And what are they going to do? America sends its ships, the aircraft carriers the most. They send to Carl Vinson and the Harry Truman, and it says, what are they going to do? V'inu Ashur, v'inu Aver. And they're going to press Ashur. Ashur is the Syrian Empire, but the Syrian Empire doesn't exist anymore, so it's a metaphor for the enemies of the Jews in the Middle East. One time it was Ashur, and now it's Persia, now it's Iran. So v'inu Ashur, he's going to press the enemies of the Jews. V'inu Aver. Aver is the Ivrim, the Jews. So he's oppressing their enemies and the Jews. Didn't make any sense. I didn't understand this, but it's happening right now, because on one hand, Trump, through his proxy, Israel, is attacking Iran, and on the other hand, he puts pressure on Israel, and he ignores Israel. He makes deals with the Houthis and ignores Israel. He makes deals with Syria, he ignores Israel. He goes to the Middle East to visit his buddies, and he ignores Israel. He puts tariffs on Israel. He's doing things, he's oppressing Israel. He has to oppress Israel, because the prophecy in Ezekiel is Gog, together with Iran, are oppressing Israel. On the other hand, like we said, he's also destroying Iran. What's very, very interesting here is that where Netanyahu comes in over here, because right before, a day before the attack, this is what I believe happened. The Rebbe sent one of his messengers. The Rebbe has people that he uses that are very close to him, and they're not always his Hasidim, Chabad Hasidim. They're not even always Jewish. Sometimes they're non-Jews, righteous non-Jews. One of the holiest non-Jews today, we know, is the president of Argentina, Javier Milei. I hope I pronounced it right. And this guy is such a righteous Gentile. He has such a powerful, righteous soul, shining with light. He says over words of Torah. He says over words. He was by the Rebbe at least 4 times. When he comes to New York, he goes to the Rebbe. He prays like he's a chassid of the Rebbe. And he was said, I believe, by the Rebbe because Netanyahu had an interesting relationship with the Rebbe. First time he met the Rebbe was when he came as an assignment to be the Israeli ambassador to the UN in 1984. But then 5 years later, he left the UN and he joined the Israeli government. He became a member of the Likud. He became the deputy foreign minister under Shamir. And in 1988, he came to the Rebbe for a blessing. He passed by the Rebbe. The Rebbe used to give out blessings, and he passed by the Rebbe. And he told the Rebbe that now he's in the Israeli government. So then he had a minor position. He wasn't a leader in the government, just a deputy foreign minister. But the Rebbe told him one day you're going to lead the Rebbe told him a prophecy, going back to 1988. The Rebbe told him that one day you're going to be the leader of the land of the Israeli government, and you need to be strong for the security of Israel. You might have to fight against. There's 120 people in the Knesset. You might have to fight against 119 of them, but you have to stand up for the security of Israel. And the Rebbe wanted to remind him about that bracha that the Rebbe gave him back in 1988. So the Rebbe sent his shliach. This time his shliach was a non-Jew, the president of Argentina. And he gave him a gift. An artist made a picture. It was taken from a photograph, but he made a beautiful picture. I'll put some links in the description. You'll see exactly. He gave him a picture of that time when he went to the Rebbe in 1988, and the Rebbe gave him this blessing. And with that, the Rebbe encouraged Netanyahu, you remember that blessing I gave you? Now you need to use it. Don't be afraid. Go ahead and destroy Iran. You must do it. And Netanyahu remembered it, and he told him he remembers how he saw the Rebbe had such prophetic powers, and he mentioned clearly that he recognized that this was a prophecy. And then he went with him to the Kaisel. Netanyahu is not a religious person, but he's not anti-religious. And the Rebbe tried to work with him and bring out the best in him. And this time, Netanyahu really shined, because he went to the Kaisel, he put on a yarmulke, and he put on a talit, and he davened, together with the Argentinian president, and he put a note in the Kaisel. In the Kotel, he put a note, Siyata Deshmaya, with the help of God. Now, he's a secular person, and he mentions this is going to be with the help of God. And he mentioned the beautiful prophecy, the prophecy of Bilam. That's also a beautiful prophecy of Bilam. And what is that prophecy? It says, Am kilovi yokum, uch'ari yisnasa, a nation will stand up like a lion. And he wrote that zettel as a blessing, that God should fulfill this blessing now. So everything here is really coming together in an incredible way. The prophecy that Trump has to be, in a way, annoying to Israel, because it says V'inu Aver. He has to oppress Aver, which is the Ivrim, which is the Jews. So Trump has to do stupid things that's not in Israel's interest, by really building up Qatar and Turkey and all the Islamic world, and saying how great they are and how strong they are and how powerful and how much money they give him and how great they are for America, and really excluding Israel and not even mentioning Israel and not even visiting Israel, and doing all different kinds of stuff to oppress Israel, because that's what it says in Ezekiel. That's his role. He's the last manifestation. So I want to explain something very, very interesting. When we talk about Esau, there's a lot of different parts to Esau. So Esau, there's if you look in Genesis, in chapter 27, verse 41. So after Yaakov took the blessings, Esau was furious at him, and Esau said that as soon as my father, he didn't want to hurt his father. He had a lot of respect for his father. That's one of the things that our sages are actually. Compliment Esau for his high level of kibbud av, of respecting his father. But as soon as my father dies, I'm going to kill Yaakov. So that's the ugliest part of Esau, the Amalek, which is the evil essence of Esau. I'm going to kill Yaakov. I can't take it. He took the blessings. So that's the Esau in chapter 27. And then there is the Esau of chapter 32, which was 20 years later after Yaakov went to Haran, and he built up a family, and to Lavan, I mean, and he built up a family, and he had a lot of children. And now he's coming back to the land of Israel, and he's going to visit his father, and he meets Esau, and he bows down to Esau, and he gives him an enormous amount of gifts, and he tells him, "You're my master," and Esau gives him a big hug and a kiss, and this is, in chapter 32, verse 4. So this is a different Esau. Here, Esau is loving his brother, and he's showing true love to his brother. And he says, what can I do? I want to help you. You want to come? I'll take care of you. You can come with me back to where I live, and I'll treat you royally. I could give you guards to help you, to protect you in the land of Israel. It's a dangerous place over here, and he's offering help, and he's showing him real love. So there's two parts to Esau. There's this good part, and then when he feels that Yaakov is taking something away from him, then the bad part emerges. So we see something very interesting with Trump. Trump is by far the best manifestation of Esau. He tells Jewish people, "I want to help you," and he hugs them, and he says, "I want to protect you, and I'm going to do what I can. You could have all the arms you want, all the weapons you want." Biden severely restricted it, and all the American presidents before him were much worse than Eretz Yisrael. And he, by far, the best president that the Jews ever had. And this is the good Esau. This is the Esau that's hugging and kissing Yaakov. But he did it because he realized Yaakov wasn't a threat to him. Yaakov wasn't taking anything away from him. He just wanted to protect his younger brother. So he had normal instincts of an older brother to younger brother. Let me take care of you, my younger brother. But as soon as Yaakov wanted to take something from him, he felt that the blessings belonged to him. He was ready to kill him. So there's these two parts of Esau. So when it comes to Trump, you have to realize that he'll do it. He likes Israel, and he likes Jews, and he's a good person, and he wants to protect, the Jewish people, but not when it's going to be at his cost. The bottom line is he wants America to be very rich. He likes money. He wants America to have money, and the Gulf states, have an enormous amount of money that they want to invest, close to $2 trillion, and that means a lot to him. So if showing them, is creating alliances with them and showing his respect to them is going to be good for America, if it's not good for Israel, so in that case, so there's an incredible prophecy that I want to end with, and that is that this really had to happen before Moshiach comes, because the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, in Tractate Avodah Zarah, page 2b, the Talmud says that when Moshiach comes, or right before Moshiach comes, Esau is going to say, the Moshiach comes, there's going to be one king. He's going to be the king of the whole world. There's not going to be any countries, any government. There's one king who controls everything. Every single country in the world is basically just a province. There are no presidents, there are no governments. There could be mayors, governors, but there's one federal government, we'll call it, and that's Israel, and that's controlled by Moshiach, together with the Sanhedrin, and they control everything, and all the other countries are under Israel. And they control Israel just like Trump controls America, for example. And if he wants to send the National Guard or the Marines into LA, he does what he wants. So Israel will control the world. The other countries will be basically like states, but the overarching and overall control of the whole world is Mashiach. And Esau says, why can't we both? Why can't we share? I'm a good person. I'll work together with Israel. Why do we have to take away my leadership? Why do you have to take away my control of my country? I'm a good person. And the Gemara, I don't want to go into it's getting very long now, but read the Gemara yourself. It's fascinating. And he says, I'm good to the Jews, and that I'm it's almost like paraphrasing Trump. The Talmud uses different words, but it's talking about a different era and different kinds of things. But basically, he's saying, I'm so good to the Jews, and so why can't I retain my power? Trump likes power. And the Talmud says, you don't really deserve to be in power, because even though you were good to the Jews in certain ways, but when it came to your own needs, you were selfish and you were self-centered. So when it came to what was good for America, you don't want to start up with Iran because you're going to upset the Gulf states, and because they're afraid of Iran. You don't want to destroy the Houthis because you're going to upset the Muslims, because the Muslims in Saudi Arabia are fanatics also. I mean, I don't know what's going through MBS, what he's thinking, but most of the people in Saudi Arabia are anti-Israel and anti-Semites and stuff like that. So Trump is basically, if it doesn't cost him anything, because he couldn't care less about the Palestinians. It means nothing to him. So he tells Israel, just get rid of them, take over Gaza, let's build it up, and we'll make a lot of money over there. He couldn't care less about them. The Palestinians have the money, he couldn't care less about them. So he knows also that Saudi Arabia couldn't care less. Nobody cares about them. They're just using the Palestinians as an excuse to fight Israel. But what he does care is that he wants to be in good graces with the Gulf states. So therefore, what Trump has to do he has to, when it comes to his own personal needs. So when Esau feels threatened by Yaakov, for example, it says 50 years later, after this event that he hugged him and kissed him, when Yaakov died and he was brought down to be buried in the Maras HaMachpelah in Hebron. So what happened was, the Talmud has a whole story. What happened? That we have a tradition. What happened is that Esau came and he said, "I'm not going to let you bury Jacob there because there were two plots left. Me and my brother Yaakov, we inherit everything from our father. Let's say 50-50, and there's two plots left. And one of them Yaakov already took for his wife Leah. She's buried there, and now the one is left for me. So he didn't let. So they had a whole fight, and they ended up, they had to, the children of Yaakov had to kill Esau, and they knocked off his head, and it went into the Maras HaMachpelah, and his head is buried over there next to his father Isaac, which means that part of Esau is very good. He has a heart that's very, very, when it comes to his own needs, and when it comes to his own desires and his own lust for power and for money, he doesn't belong to Maras HaMachpelah. Then he's Esau. But when he's not, when his desires of a heart are not confusing his mind, then he knows what to do. So his head is in the Maras HaMachpelah because his head is in the right place. Just his heart is not. See, so he tried to stop it because he's nice to Yaakov as long as Yaakov is not taking anything away from him. Here he felt he's taking away his right to be next to his father in the Maras HaMachpelah. So this is exactly what Trump is. He's good to Israel as long as it doesn't affect him. So just let's just end off this thing. We're getting very long, but I believe that, thanks to the brachos of the Rebbe that he gave Netanyahu. Netanyahu really came through this time. He made tons of mistakes. With Oslo, he supported the disengagement, and he hugged and he shook hands with Arafat and with Abbas, and he facilitated the buildup of Hamas, and he made one mistake after the other, compromise after compromise, and the mistakes caused a lot of pain and suffering and death to the Jews of Israel. But at the end of the day, when he had to do this last thing before Moshiach comes, as a proxy of America, you have to destroy Iran to fulfill that prophecy. In Yuma, the Rebbe's bracha that was given to him in 1988, the Rebbe came back to him through his shliach, the president of Argentina, this righteous Gentile, Javier. And he showed him the picture, and he remembered him, and it came back to him, and the Rebbe's blessing engulfed him and brought out the goodness in him and the power of his soul. And he went to the Kosel, and he davened, and he thanked Hashem. This is a beautiful fulfillment of the Rebbe's prophecies and of all the prophecies in the Talmud, and nothing else has to be done. I strongly encourage you, don't waste another minute. Spend every minute of your time doing great deeds, learning Torah, doing mitzvahs, encouraging other Jews to do Torah and mitzvahs. If you're a non-Jew and listening to this, you have your mitzvahs to do, charity, goodness, support Israel, support God. Don't go into the crazy bishagasin of the left and the woke bishagoyim. Do what's right, do what's moral, build a family, devote yourself to your wife and your kids. Should be upstanding, moral people, and the Jews and the non-Jews should speedily welcome Moshiach when all our suffering will be over, and we'll see the glory of Hashem. Good Shabbos.